Hey, my name's Matthew Donald. Do you like dinosaurs? Well, of course you don't. What have they ever done for you? Want to learn more about them and other creatures from some fools who derail and ramble about movies and such? Then listen to my podcast, Paleobites, where each episode I and some other folks I've drug along talk about prehistoric animals like Stegosaurus or Beelzebufo and rate them 1 out of 65 million for reasons including sexiness, mana, and dexterity. Paleobites, available wherever you listen to podcasts.
Welcome, fellow nerds, to another episode of The Writ Witch, the show about writing, and writers, and writting, and the written word, and words, and welfare, and families, and trust, and philanthropy, and wanderlust, and also poo-poo jokes.
You know, you really had me going there for half a second.
Half a second?
But then I looked at the notes and realized that's not worth it. He's blowing raspberries on his microphone. He ain't going to be able to clean that out, but he's doing it anyway, being irresponsible.
It's not from my mouth, it's from the other end.
Regardless, he's not going to be able to clean it up very easily.
Oh, God, it's true. Anyways, we better move on to the next segment of the show.
Welcome back, listeners. We're on episode 2 of a set. Should explain, we're on the first set of what will probably become multiple sets because we have way too many characters to talk about in only 4 episodes.
Yes.
So, because it's the second episode of this particular set,
Yes.
we're up to Vocabulary Vitamin of the Month.
Oh, what do you got for us?
I got a good one. Verbose.
Oh, that's you.
V-E-R-B-O-S-E, and he already said it. But simple definition, extremely wordy.
That's you.
A sample sentence. David has a bad habit of being too verbose, not just in NaNoWriMo, but in life.
You can definitely tell the difference between your skits and mine just because of how long each character's lines are. Anyways.
Now go out there and take your vitamin, listeners. Until next set, if you'd like to go ahead and share with us segments in your stories where you've used vocabulary vitamins, please share them with us.
Yes, please.
We'll tell you how to get in touch with us at the end of this episode.
Please share them. We would love that. And speaking of love.
Yeah.
We're talking about the lover. Yeah.
All right, stop making out with your microphone. Stop making out with your microphone, boy.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, we have a list of these literary character archetypes, and because we just did the hero last week, go listen if you haven't.
Yes.
We're doing the lover this one.
Because lovers can't be heroic.
They certainly can be, but
too
like it made.
sinful.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The problem
give me
is
some of that sugar.
the problem is amongst the 12, a lot of them.
I'm available, listeners. By the way, ladies,
You're single.
If you're tempted by this,
By this, just gestures to everything. Anyway,
Yes.
it's worth mentioning that in our discussions about setting this up, because we wanted to try and not cram too much into one set,
Yes.
we had to split it up.
Yes.
So we tried finding native pairs. And one of the pairs that immediately came to light was the hero and his love interest.
Yes. But also,
Now,
like,
it could be her love interest if it is a heroine, for what that's worth. But,
and also, to be fair, the lover also doesn't necessarily have to be just a love interest.
no.
Or they don't even have to be a love interest at all.
They might just be a lover, not a fighter.
Exactly. Like there's a lot we can do here. So, this is the character that we all dream we'll get someday, and maybe one of these days we'll get it.
We keep hoping, but we're celebrating singles awareness for how many years in a row? No.
For what it's worth, I'm trying.
You are absolutely. You're great.
I've been on a lot of dates. Been on 0 second dates.
I was about to say you've been on a great first date, but not on too many.
I've been on quite a few great first dates.
But taking our personal feelings about romance out of the equation,
yeah,
this character is going to be guided by their heart.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly. It's the character guy with their heart full of passion and conviction, but it can also be irrational and naive, in certain situations.
Love makes you do some strange things, some
Oh,
inexplicable
boy, it
things.
does. What makes this character interesting to write about, and how can you incorporate it into your works?
Well, I mean, outside of my answer even, I just thought of one right there that, love can make us do some strange things that cannot always be explained. Why is it that somebody who looks like a supermodel will end up wanting to date somebody like me who is decidedly not in shape? I'm not saying this has happened.
How heavy is your wallet?
How heavy is my wallet? Yeah, okay, that might be one
If
reason.
if it's pretty heavy, that'd be a good reason.
That might be a reason. But doesn't mean that is the reason.
No. I mean, I don't
And
know.
so, going on that and trying to showcase this, the odd couple relationship that the main character and this person may have. Now, to my actual answer, which is because all wish they had a partner who sympathized with their choices, showed at least some interest or acceptance of all their desires, and cared for them despite whatever faults or quirks they possess. I mean, finding somebody who understands the main character on such a deep level is a real privilege to encounter.
Yeah.
And you have all the tools necessary to bring that to fruition in your story.
I'd like to say so, yeah.
Give them, the lover character, their respect, and include them in the darkest moments, wherever possible, as a source of inspiration.
Yes.
A friendly ear, the first line of defense for the main character.
Like, that's the thing. They're not just there just for, like, to provide the kisses and, the more stuff. But they're also there to function as another character's conscious and to be the heart of the story or even the heart of a whole team. Like, the lover doesn't necessarily have to be a love interest. They just have to be someone who believes in the good of people and tries their best to build others up. That could be quite interesting and quite good as a supporting character and also as a main character in some ways.
And honestly, there's nothing wrong with making this the main character.
Mm-hmm.
Not because I write stories about superheroes and powers and all that stuff because it's kind of my bread and butter.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that every character has to fight. In fact, there have to be some that can't because it showcases why powers makes them special, why their attitude about the powers they have makes them special.
Right, exactly.
My main character for Act 1 of this nano working that I'm working on right now is powerless.
Oh, cool.
The only one in her family who's powerless.
Ooh, have you seen trailers for that movie Encanto or whatever?
No, I haven't.
It's got exactly the same premise. So.
I swear I didn't look at that before coming up with a story. I promise you.
Actually, no, to be fair, it's not a unique premise. You've all seen the movie Up, Up, and Away, the Disney Channel original movie.
No, I haven't, but that one's probably more along the lines of what I'd, enjoy watching.
Yeah.
That said, if this person is a main character, you open up a whole host of other storytelling opportunities that you don't if the main character is involved in the conflict with their own physicality.
That's the thing. Like, what means can you employ to avoid making this character exist solely as a love interest?
Now, for those of you lucky enough to have significant others in your life,
Lyra, I love you, but you don't count. You're a cockatiel.
Or
Anyways.
even just like spying a model relationship in the life of someone else you respect.
Yes.
We understand individuals don't have argument-free living 100% of the time.
Right, of course.
Make sure they exhibit those characteristics on page somehow. Whether it's admitting a otherwise unmentioned hobby in X, not appreciating the MC's logic, main character, by the way, MC's logic regarding Y, that kind of a thing. They don't exist to simply say, yes, dear, without critical thought on major life-altering decisions.
That's true. They better not, anyways.
Do you need to go so far in giving them their own personality? Maybe not as much if they are destined to be off-page a lot, if they're not the main character.
Right.
Which you can make the lover a main character. Let's not throw that out.
Right, exactly.
But if they're only there as a love interest to your actual main character, maybe they're a hero, maybe whatever archetype they are,
Yes.
that they aren't going to be on page as much, then no, you don't have to go quite so far.
Not quite so far, no.
But any work that you do in preparing their personality, learning about those things that make them tick, helps represent them as a fully defined character of their own.
It's true.
And that's the most important piece.
That's the thing. Like, they gotta be a fully defined character of their own. Like, give them their own arc, essentially. Like, we all know the Bechdel test. But how about the Macko test? Yes, named after the character from Pacific Rim.
I've never actually heard of it referred to that way, but interesting. Okay, I like where it's going.
Okay, it's a newer test that's usually considered more progressive nowadays. See, like, the Pacific Rim does not pass the Bechdel test. But
they don't really have that many females in there. So.
They have Macko and they have that one Russian pilot with her husband.
But are they even on the same screen at one time?
Nope.
I don't think they are. So how could it pass?
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. But,
I mean, the Bechdel test implies that they're interacting in the first place.
Yeah, but it does pass.
And then not just talking about guys.
It's still considered a pretty feminist movie because, here's what happened. The Macko test is when you have a female character who has their own arc in the plot separate from the main male character. In Macko's case, she yearns to prove herself to her surrogate father and wants to be a Jaeger pilot to fight back against the kaiju that took her old life and her family away from her.
Yeah.
She does that through the same method that the main male character, Riley, does too, admittedly, but...
Which they'd be considering they have to share the Jaeger.
Yeah, exactly. But, but it's separate from Riley's arc, which is to avenge his brother and find his purpose again after losing his brother. Like, so they each have their own arcs.
They
separate
happen
from each
to
other.
be working together
Yes.
to accomplish their own objectives.
Yes, exactly. So Macko's arc isn't tied to like, how can I win
It's
over?
not, yeah, it's not like she's trying to fall in love with Raleigh or the opposite.
Yeah, it's kind of ambiguous whether or not they ever end up together. They just give a little headbutt at the end, and then that's it.
Well, I mean, they share consciousness to pilot the Jaeger, if I'm understanding
Yeah,
it correctly.
they
I mean, it's been a while since I've watched it.
Yeah, but no, they do. But like they never kiss. They never say I love you. They never.
Well, and honestly, in that respect, when it comes to love interests, sometimes words are important, but actions speak more strongly than words do.
Right.
So
Exactly.
Maybe the headbutt was the sign. Go crazy, shippers. I don't care.
They were floating on a thing in the middle of the Pacific when they had the headbutt. I mean, helicopters were coming up for them, so they didn't have much time on their own. But
Well, who knows?
anyways, okay, so
James Bond, always just enough time right before the cops show up. No, I'm just kidding.
James Bond, man.
I didn't mind those movies except for the fact that he's such a chauvinist.
He gets a little rapey in the older ones.
He's such a chauvinist. There's no doubt about that. That part I don't like, but
Like that's
the
what.
suave, the
Like I don't know. Like
action scenes.
Yeah, no, those are cool, and I like the style of that. But like, yeah, there's a lot of times where like he just goes up to a woman, immediately starts kissing her, and the woman's like, "Oh my gosh, I never realized it until like, you're the most attractive man I've ever in my life."
Yeah, James Bond definitely doesn't qualify as a hero. That's why we didn't mention him last week.
Exactly. Well, that's what I really liked, and you can tell this was a movie directed by a woman. But in the first Wonder Woman movie, there's that scene after like, Wonder Woman and what's his face, Chris Pine.
Oh, Trevor? Steve Trevor?
Steve Trevor, yeah. After they do that dance in that city, and then he takes her up to her place, and he's about to walk away, but then he looks back, and she's looking back at him. That's when he moves in. He doesn't...
Yeah, I don't think a male director would have done that. I think he would have just like...
Yeah, it's like immediately plowing her. But no, like, he was going to leave until he saw that she was looking at him to invite him in. So
Which is how it should go, guys. Take
Exactly.
a note.
No means no.
Well, it's not like she said anything.
Yeah, but she said it with her eyes.
Well, that's a slippery slope. But the point
But she was
being,
also looking
it's-
directly at him.
Yes,
Like,
it's framed in such a way that it makes absolute sense. It is consent. But what I'm saying is that you can't just assume by the way they look that
no.
it is for sure. Oh, yes, please come.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, moving on. Okay, so...
You're the one who's ascribing any extra value to it, sir.
Anyways, basically, like, that can work, too, with the lover, like the Macko Mori test. Like, it can be more than just... If they are a love interest, they can also be more,
Do they need their own arc? I'd argue it's not necessary.
It's just...
But it definitely should be something you consider having.
Yeah. 'cause-
If you choose not to include it because you just don't have enough space, or if it's something that it works against the direction the story is otherwise moving, then maybe allude to it, but don't, like, pay it out on screen,
Yeah.
perhaps. But regardless, it's something that adds to this character more than simply being there to say, yes, dear, because, oh, he made a decision, she has to agree with it.
Right, exactly. So, but anyway, this is one thing to do. But while planning this character, what characteristics are most crucial to consider rather than, like, too vapid to include?
All right, gentlemen
Yes.
who have trouble
That's
writing
me.
girls,
That's me.
listen up.
Yeah.
There is far more to a woman than the size of her God-given assets.
Oh, I've mentioned this on this podcast before. I forget which episode, but it was like physical appearance.
While having a cheat sheet profile with height, hair and eye color, and weight undisclosed because you never ask a woman about her weight, that's certainly fine and helpful when describing them make an entrance.
Yes.
But it's not about their 3 sizes for modeling that makes them a lifeline for the main character.
This blonde, green-eyed, 120-pound woman walked.
In case, for those of you not aware of the 3 sizes, bust, waist, hip.
No, I know.
Okay, just clarifying for those who didn't. Anyway, something about their personality. Maybe it's a common interest, a vital difference of opinion in the right circumstance. These are the types of things that should be considered with priority.
Yes. I could see that.
Now, ladies.
Yes.
You're not a lady. Who had trouble writing guys.
Well,
Listen up.
That's also me. I have trouble writing everyone, guys.
You're not missing the mark too much. Keep on. All right, no, jokes aside, guys are usually more simplistic for the opposite gender to write. Wonder what that's about. Can't possibly figure it
Yeah,
out.
like again, a guy like, why do you like this girl? I don't know, she's hot.
Anyways,
why does the girl like this guy? Well, I don't know, like he could be like, he
he has really nice skin.
really nice skin. He
I
loves
love the shape of his cheeks.
He loves animals. He wants.
He seems so kind. He's always gentle when he caresses my shoulder.
Oh,
makes me shiver when he touches
wears
my arm.
He wears a really good cologne, but not too much to not make it overpowering.
Case in point, the average male isn't the type to wax poetic on a frequent basis.
Yes.
Or be a good source of guidance on things regarding aesthetic. Yeah, they have their own opinions, but they're more likely to yield to the more astute eye on things.
Mm-hmm. That's
Oh,
me.
do you prefer this color or this color? Whatever you want, dear. Do you like this shape or that shape? Well, I kind of like that shape, but I like this one. All right, whatever.
Sounds like a wow going on there.
Yeah, probably. But anyway, so summarizing outside the gender buckets that I just mentioned here, because there are other aspects of this too. Consider what enhances the interactions the audience gets with the main character.
Right. Yeah, if this character's not the main character, yes. So
certain things can be agreed upon, even if one side is grudgingly accepting of the decision. Some interests in common, while others are a whole different ballgame for the lover. They might not care about tokusatsu or dinosaurs or laser guns.
How dare they? That's all right.
Try emphasizing those traits rather than the physical ones all the time.
Yes, I'd say so. But as well as avoiding focusing,
as well as avoiding that word in the wrong place,
as well as avoiding the word avoiding, but as long as avoiding focusing too hard on their physical attributes and characteristics, try not to make their more heartfelt personality too one-dimensional. Being kind and compassionate is a good quality, but why is this character like that?
What made them that way?
Yeah, like how they're raised? Is it like something that happened to them? They're like, I don't want that to happen to other people. Like, if they're kind for the sake of being kind, and they're just as one-dimensional as a bad guy who wants to destroy the world because he's insane.
It could be something that the lover has a very different side of them revealed when they're near their significant other.
That's true.
For a random example, a tomboy who otherwise is really fierce and strong, but melts in the knees when she's around this person.
Here's a handy tip, listeners, that I did not know when I was a kid and when I was a silly, love-stricken high schooler.
Yeah, so many people, so many other classmates to love.
When you're nervous around this girl, that's not a good sign. That doesn't mean you love them.
It doesn't guarantee that you love them, no.
You know what means that you love them? When you're happy around them. when she's happy around you.
I might go so far as to say being nervous about what they think.
Okay, that's a little different, but just
a better sign.
Constantly having butterflies in your stomach when they're there, though, that's not good.
Well, it might not become the most healthy relationship, but that doesn't necessarily mean you aren't developing feelings either.
No, I get that.
And you just don't have a way to verbalize what that is.
Mm-hmm. Someone you want to be with should be someone that makes you happy when you're with them. So that's what chemistry literally is characters acting happier around each other.
Chemistry is stoichiometry. What the hell are you talking about?
Chemistry is...
It's balancing your equations to make sure that all your protons and electrons are in balance.
All I've watched is cartoons, so I imagine chemistry is just a blue vial and a red vial that you mix together and go...
Is this a metaphor for red pill, blue pill?
No, so then you have the green vial and it goes... That's chemistry.
Experimenting on compounds is definitely chemistry as well. But anyway, as far as romantic chemistry, no, you don't want to always be in that constant state of worry around someone you care so much for. If you're there, you can't relax, and not being able to relax means you can't be yourself. And what's the most important thing about being in a significant relationship is being true to yourself.
Exactly. And why is it that a lot of people have a real problem with the Twilight movies or the 50 Shades of Grey movies? I don't know about the books because it's difficult to tell. But one of the things that you can tell in the movie specifically why people have a problem with it, they don't look happy. They never look happy together. They never smile.
The nature of the relationship itself is very fraught with problems in the first place.
Yes, it is. But that's the thing. That's why people say they have no chemistry, because they never look happy, even when around. they look like possessive. And
Now,
like,
I'm not in a place to really, knock too hard the efforts of actors who have to go on screen.
Now,
and
to be
pretend
fair, the
like
actors
somebody
also-
opposite them.
To be fair, the actors weren't happy doing those, other than the nice fat paycheck they got.
Well, I mean, it's
And
one of those,
Robert Pattinson's doing pretty good for himself, and Kristen Stewart's not doing too
well,
bad. She's got
that's not 50 Shades. That's Twilight proper. But anyway, I mean, it's one of those things that if you're an actor whose job is to deceive people by getting into another character, then you really should try a little harder to get into that character, even if it's something you don't agree with.
Yes, no, I get that.
But I'm really not, in a great place to criticize.
But no,
'cause
I'm
I don't
not
know
saying
what goes
I'm
into
not
it.
really criticizing their performance. It was how they were written. This was
Maybe.
that was they were written to be that kind of possessive and that kind of
This is something that has nothing to do with this episode, so I'm going to bring it up and maybe leave it as a future idea.
yeah.
If something goes wrong with the character, how do you ascribe blame?
That's a loaded question.
Exactly. Because when you have a TV or a film, you've got the director, you've got the producer, you've got the actor themselves. All of them, the writer could be involved
Well, it's like
in the failure to, do a good job with this.
Well, it's like, a lot of people blame George Lucas for the acting in the prequels. If you look at, like, Hayden Christensen, he's been in some movies, particularly a movie called Shattered Glass, I've heard, where it's like, wow, he
can actually act.
He's a really good actor. Like, so, yeah. Like, and you
this
could
is-
also sort of tell, and there was a scene in, like, Revenge of the Sith when Padme tells him that she's pregnant, and you could see, like, the look in his eyes as he kind of looks, like, wait, that's wonderful. Like, that's proof he can act. Like, the way he kind of, you can see all those emotions in his face.
This is a bit of a cheap plug on my behalf. There's an episode of Nerds Are Us yet to be released, but there's an episode where my co-host and I talk about the season Power Rangers Megaforce, and the character for the Red Ranger, the actor was expressly told by all the production staff, be as wooden as possible.
Well, that's lame.
Very lame. Like, that's taking the tools out of the toolbox for an actor. And on other stuff that the actor has since been on, he's been pretty good.
Yeah.
I haven't witnessed him myself. This is just hearsay. But the actor went on in interviews and said, like, they told me not to. I hated it. I didn't want to do it that way.
And that's just so damaging. Like, people would look at that and be like, this guy's not a good actor. Like, not knowing that he was told to do that. Like,
It's probably why he had to set the record straight.
yes.
Back to Lovers, though.
Back to Lovers, huh?
Back to Lovers and characters we love. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, so is there any way that this character can be an antagonist to bring this question, like,
Back again.
to all this? Like, surely not, right? Or maybe?
I can actually see a really easy way for this to go.
Oh.
Are they the current lover or a past lover?
Yes. A vindictive ex-lover.
Because relationships that end don't always end amicably. Case in
true.
point, either of mine. Sometimes the
I'm
lover...
still friends with my ex.
Lucky you.
Yeah.
Sometimes the lover is too insane and it needs to be called off. So then that lover goes on a revenge quest.
Now, to be fair, my first kiss was a woman who did eventually go insane. So.
But at least you're not like enacting revenge on her. Anyway,
No,
other scenarios...
she tried on me a few times.
She tried enacting revenge on you?
Well, the rest of the house.
Good God, let's not talk about this on the episode. Other scenarios involving a bad match and a bitter ex happen in real life. Why
Yes.
can't they happen in your story?
Yes.
It'd be hard for the current significant other
Yeah.
to be an antagonist, but it's not impossible to see a tale that includes an antagonist falling for the main character.
It's true.
So yes, it's really not that difficult if you wanted to use it that way.
Well, that is one way, and that's one way to go about it. But how about something a little more complex, like that their heart and compassion ends up leading them down the wrong path? Like,
So devoted to somebody they don't realize that it's necessarily bad things.
like that's what they, again, speaking of Anakin and Hayden Christensen, Darth Vader. That's what drove him to go mad, was like seeing visions
He
of
thought he lost them all.
Yeah, like, and he lost his mother. He had lost all this other stuff. He's like, I'm not gonna lose you. Like, and I keep getting frustrated by the Jedi and them denying me stuff. So I'm gonna go to this other person.
Well, and for what it's worth, the Jedi were expressly forbidding love relationships.
Well, not
anyway.
only that, but they were forbidding him from being a master. They were like, they don't trust this guy. Like, he didn't.
For good reason.
I know, but like, he was just frustrated from all this stuff, and so he goes to this seemingly kind old man who's listening to him and all this stuff.
I'm just sitting here laughing because apparently the moral of today's episode, listeners, is that Anakin is a lover, not a fighter.
I mean, eventually, but I don't know. But yeah, so that's one way. Also, like Davy Jones, he fell in love and then he went insane. I don't know if he's necessarily the lover anymore, but
Well, I mean, that's something else that we haven't really addressed and probably don't need to, because it's at any one point your archetype may change as your path takes you somewhere.
it's true. But like, anyways, but how about like a person who is a good person overall? They do the wrong things by backing the wrong guy. This isn't like a romantic love, but the main villain's daughter in the Dragon Prince Netflix series is a good example of this. She's a good person, has a good heart, but she's so focused on being good to her father and caring for him and being on his side that she ignores his gaslighting of her and his brother, between her and her brother, like, and his other more villainous characteristics and conquest and other stuff, to the point that she makes the story a heck of a lot worse for everyone else.
Well, and you know the ending to this phrase, the road to hell is paved with
good intentions. Yep.
So somebody who, is just acting on their heart might lead somewhere that they didn't expect, and it just puts them in a bad light. But that doesn't make them a bad person.
Right, exactly. So, and that's the thing, like, she was a pretty well-written character, and that show is currently on hiatus, but I really hope it comes back because she did something pretty bad, like, in the last episode, and, like, it's just like, man...
It's on my list of things to watch on Netflix.
You really shouldn't have done that. Man. So that's it for this
Yay,
week.
cliffhangers, right?
Watch Dragon Prince, guys. Get those numbers up. Make Netflix for no way. I don't want it to be another one of those shows that Netflix is like, okay, we're done.
Well, I mean, look at the example of Young Justice, which Young Justice season, I think it's now 4.
That's true.
It's coming out like a decade after season 3 aired.
That's true.
So it's not
possible.
It's not ever impossible
Well,
if somebody loves it enough.
Well, like Arrested Development, like if it's on Netflix now, but like originally it ran for like 3 seasons, from like 2003, 2005, and now I think it's still running, but like started in like 2017.
I don't know enough about Arrested Development, but regardless,
friend of the show and someone who's been on a few times, Lexi Ryan, introduced me to that show. So
gotcha.
So, anyways,
if you're listening, Lexi, thanks for listening.
Yes, she's a patron. Yes, we appreciate you, Lexi. Anyways, that's it for this week. A huge thank you to all our patrons so far.
And if you'd like to join that, take a look at the description. We have a link.
Yes, contact us at mattsd@methodoncareer.com for your general questions to either co-host.
Or if you'd like to share those vocab vitamins in your own stories. We'd love to read them on the air if you'll let us.
We would love that, wouldn't you say?
I would. And speaking of... No, I'm kidding.
Let's start the episode all over again.
All over again. One more round.
You can follow me at Matthew Career on Facebook, at Matthew64 on Twitter, and Matthew64 on Instagram. Why 64? Because it's the number of squats I do every day. You think an ass like this comes naturally? I gotta work for it. Oh, yeah.
Only 64 squats instead of 64 packages of fries from some fast food restaurant, right?
Where do you think the fat from the fries goes?
Straight to your ass.
Yeah, got a good bubble butt. A man's bubble butt. Anyways.
We have twitted ourselves out about writing.
Until next time, I'm Matt Donald.
I'm Matt David. Keep on writing the good write.
Written the good writ.
And we'll see you next week.
Stay safe.
More on Archetypes.
Vaccine, yep, all that. Yeah,
Bye.
bye.
The Red Wave.